So we're in the down under with the set out little corner, pin one on, another one on, see if these run pretty square. They want their middle walls tying in, so I'm going to tie them in as well. We're out of the way, which is nice, but didn't get us gear till 9:30 this morning, so we had a bit of an issue with measurements. We ain't got a night yet, so we're going 5/6 course, keep them tight to gauge, and we'll so we've got course through on that flank on gable, course on back. We didn't get started till at 10 o'clock, quarter to 10. Finally got the heights, so got 5 course of trench down here before they backfill it, and we've got 6 all the way around. So I'm going to dot one on here on this pin. We've got a little bay here, as you can see where the pins are. I'm going to run one in now. Old man's gobbo's on its way, as you can see over there. It's coming, and we'll run one in here. Tail a little corner out here. Tail a little corner around this bit. Same here. Tail a little corner across. Dot one on. Tail one across. Then we'll just focus on getting a corner up each side, running the back in. So we're first day on the footings, and probably two of the hottest days of the year I've ever worked. So we're on Wednesday now. It's Wednesday night. I've done 2 days on this footing so far. This is the first day I'm recording here. I'm doing a bit of a different style of video with the sort of recording situ voiceovers, sort of explaining what I'm going to do. I've got a few different styles of footage. I'm going to sort of styles of video making. I'm going to try this sort of style, and then I'm going to sort of try hybrid of the two, where I'm sort of laying at 2 times speed with the music, but I want to do sort of more of a voiceover-esque style, because that seems what people are enjoying on the channel. I didn't end up getting that apprentice with me on the first day or any of the days so far. I didn't end up getting an extra set of hands, which would have been nice, but by the by. And the access to this footing was a bit, it's a bit airy. We had one corner we could get gear from, and that was about it. The trench was dug out, not terrible, but it wasn't really enough space to work in comfortably. I was tripping over and scraping my knees against all stiff and horrible mud. So it was nice and dry, obviously. I imagine these would be a nightmare in winter. We did footings in winter on like a sandy site, but it wasn't too bad. It was just obviously if you're working on sandy ground, it's probably ideal in the footings, but when it comes to how they're dug out, it can make a massive difference on how many you can get down, just because the ease of laying and stuff. As well, I decided to build corners on these days. I was thinking of getting my profiles out, but I'm set up on that boundary wall, and I didn't want to bring my other two in. I think in future, if I'm going to build footings, I'm probably going to use profiles. Just going to strap a couple of pieces of timber to each one with an F-clamp, and then just put a dumpy at the bottom, dumpy on, pin a dumpy on all 4 corners, run a string line between them all. Well, pin a dumpy on all 4 corners, put a couple of profiles on, run a string line, make sure they're square, and, away we go. To be quite honest, I don't think I'll build corners again unless I'm working on my own. If I've got my dad with me loading out, especially if we're using sort of the 300 style mini dumpies instead of these super massive ones, or even sort of the 150 concrete dumpies, I'd probably like to use the profiles, because you can make aluminiums freestanding by just wedging them against a block and having 2 sort of arms coming out with timber. It requires at least like 3 F-clamps per profile, but it's worth doing. I carry 6 F-clamps, and if I have 2 profiles, freestanding, propped with the timber clamp style, I can see it being really ideal, especially if your footings are deep enough. Obviously, the way they want these footings building, you take them about a 5 course iron trench, because they're about 2.4 meters deep, and then they backfill it, and then you do you either do like another trench block, or I think it's like a 4-inch, obviously with your lintels and for your space for your pipes and stuff. I haven't got that technical drawing yet where they all go, so I've only got one of the drawings. I think I need the masonry drawing, but it's just the way that I'm doing on here. I got better at building these corners on the second day. I just, I was mixing between going half bond and 3/4 bond, or 2/3 bond, or whatever you want to call it. Mixing up a little bit, just making the blocks lap, a pretty good substantial lap on them, and then we had to joint both sides, which killed a bit of time. So hopefully, if any footings I do in future, I'm gonna make sure I get on a site where they only have to be jointed one side, or even just flush and brush. You can't be a good old bit of flush and brush. Last time I was in footings about 3.5-4 years ago, we just used to flush and brush all our block work, and the only thing that got jointed was our I think the only thing we used to have to joint was our splits and commons, where our concrete lintels went for as air bricks, but all our block work could be just flush and brushed, and then it was just the 4-inch commons and splits that we had to to point, obviously, on the brickwork. So it's a different, a different way of setting out. Obviously, I got a measurement with all the drawing. I got a drawing with all the measurements on for all of 6 corners or however many corners there was. So I didn't have to pick up a laser level or a dumpy level. Look through the old sniper scope. It's none of that. It was all set out for us with the site engineer. So that made these very appealing. I only had one bay in this, so it was dead easy as well. I've got 2 middle walls that cross over, so I've got like a middle wall the length of a gable, so I've got 3 gables in this, which they have at least about 100 blocks each gable. No, 125 blocks each gable, should I say. So that's really good. So I've got another one of those to do tomorrow, and another middle wall across, so I've probably got a best part of, I'd like to say, I've probably got the best part of 168, maybe 100, probably two. I've probably got a good 2 days work left in blocks, to be quite honest, with what's left. But I said to the management I'd try to get it done for. I said I'd like to get it done for Thursday, but I know I'm well out of reach now, just looking at this. So I'll probably get it. I said to him I'd definitely have it done Friday, which I'll easily get it done. But there's definitely a good. We've had 2 days on it. This first day you're watching was a bit of a token day. We didn't get started till 10. Went for a snap at 11 and finished at dead on 3, probably 2:45. So we only did 4 hours this day, which is a bit less than our normal. We normally do around 6 to 8 hours, depending on how the work is. But we only did 4 hours on that day, so I normally do 6. So, and then obviously excluding a snaps, they don't count. So we normally do about 6 to 7 hours in a day, and then if I'm on my own, I'll do more like 8, sometimes 9 if I'm really pushing the envelope. So obviously, the first day was a token day, so I didn't earn as much that day, and then the second day, which was today, that was on it, sort of earned basically kind of what I earned on the brick. The hot weather did have a big effect, so and with the time we left, I left a lot earlier than when we were on the brick as well. So normally when we're on the brick, garages or boundary walls or even plots and stuff, I'm working till a good 4 o'clock. But today we were packed up at 5 past 10 past 3 easily. So I'd say if I'd have worked the same length of time as when I was laying sort of bricks and in cooler weather, I'd definitely earn just as much. And that's with me estimating the price of these from what the other guys are getting at about 180 a block, and with them getting wanting them jointing both sides, I think that's a bit a bit on the low side. I hope they'll get back to me and tell me it's £2 a block, or even 190 a block. I'd be happier at. But if it is 180 a block, it's not the end of the world. I'm still earning money. Still better than day work. Still earning better than day work rate, so it's is what it is, and it's hot weather as well. I can definitely see this in being in a bit of a more damper conditions, not necessarily wet, but damper conditions and in lower temperature. These blocks I could get really quick at laying these blocks. Even my second day laying them, I got my technique down pat pretty good. Using obviously the WHS again, Tyzac. Basically these blocks were taking 1 trowel of mortar each side of the block, and I was just spreading for 1 block, and then 1 trowel of mortar to butt the face of the block, squeeze it up. And the big mistake I was doing in this video that you can see is I was hitting them with a hammer. What you want to do is make sure your gobbo is really wet, especially if it's dry. Obviously your mortar will depend on your weather conditions, but you want to wiggle your block. You want to wiggle your block down to the line. Like rub it down to the line. Obviously on a traditional 4-inch block you don't do this because this will loosen the structural stability of your wall. But on blocks this heavy, 25-30 kilos a block, you can rub them down, and it just makes the stress on your joints loads less, and you get them down so much easier. And then all these blocks had a key on them. So what a key is like grooves on the block that help mortar and plaster key to them. And this was making, when I was like trying to flush the blocks up, it was making it look like I was, smearing gobbo everywhere, but it was just a sort of a bad effect it had. So I was just always flushing the joints up as I would have done, and then just joint over the flush block, whether that's with my finger on the back side or my jointer on the front side. Ideally, you'll probably want to be jointing these blocks up
every course, but I was just shotting them every 2 or 3 and then sort of just grinding it out a little bit. So we'll get back to this next bit of footage with me, doing a bit of a 2x speed time lapse, and then I'll come back to you at the end of the video with a few more pointers and my thoughts on the first day. So we're back with the final voiceover section of this video, and as you can see here, I'm just filling in the back between these two corners. I got it down pat in the second day where we had all the gear. We did the first two course using the blocks from the inside, and then we did the next three course using the blocks from the outside, and then we made sure all the boards were on the outside side. Basically having two, blocks deep, stacked wide, with up about 3 blocks high, with some behind between each board. And we sort of was working off 3 boards all day because of the super hot heat, the super high temperatures. We would have had these problems any type of work we had, obviously with the dry mortar and stuff, but it was particularly bad laying these Celcon variants. Obviously, I'm always a big fan of laying the clinker style, the breeze block style, dumpies instead of, or even normal 4-inch instead of these Celcon ones, because these are far from light. Even though they're a thermal, they're nowhere near as light as thermals are, so it was just one of those. In the next video, you're not going to see any 2 times sped up footage, or very limited 2 times speed, because I don't like recording it 2 times. It just looks really silly and you can't really see what I'm doing and you can't see the technique. But on this day, I was getting used to the WHS trial a bit more, and you could see me I was buttering the block, that I didn't really have much fluent motion to it. So even though in this day I probably only laid about 100 to 120 blocks, I think I counted it at 120, but I think I only laid 100. The actual motion of me laying the block wasn't as efficient as the second day. The second day I had the technique down pat, so this is a big reason why I sped the footage up, because it sort of wasn't a true representation of how I laid the block normally. I was a little bit flustered with how the morning went, not getting the gear. We didn't have his normal forklift driver, which he actually helped us out on the second day, so I was sort of a little bit, I had misgivings on the first day, but on the second day it sort of felt more normal. The site was running a bit more normal on that day. I think there's only 6 or 7. There's like a super gang on this site, and then another 3 normal size gangs. So, I was getting gear a bit easier on the second day, which I was thankful for. So hopefully in the future videos, I'll be, in the second part and future videos on this footing, they'll get more and more natural every time. But I definitely say good earner. Not sure about these super big blocks. I'd definitely like to be laying a more traditional old school style dumpy block. I find you can get them down quicker, they're less wear and tear, and they're just easier to lift in general. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this new style of video I'm trying out, obviously some of the footage was like different speeds, but I'm gonna get more real-time footage tomorrow. And if you enjoyed the video, please give the video a like. It helps spread the video across the YouTubes. And subscribe if you like this sort of daily content that I'll be bringing every day. And, hit the notification bell and leave us a comment and tell me what you think. So, thanks a lot for watching. It's Thursday tomorrow, so we're on Friday Eve. And I'll see you in the next one.
So we got this flanking, run out of gobbo. We had to use 2 tubs today, so normal thing. We started at 10, had an hour snap at 11. And then we've worked till 3 o'clock, so we've done like 4 hour on it. Bit of a nice start, but got to go somewhere else tomorrow. Oh well, let's have a count. I don't know how many blocks I've done. Probably not that many, but good enough for a Monday. got to joint both sides of these, so it's a bit of a ball ache, but oh well. Yeah, walking back to the car now. First day out footing. So it's down there with that pack of boxes. We'll obviously see how we go at end of week. Too hot of a day today. Gobbo was fucking horrible. Summer, fucking hell. Get me back on brickwork.